Mic check. Heidi ho! Hey guys, Mike Landlot here. I'm the owner of more than 216 local businesses across the Quad County Shelf, and I've been the executive co-scribe of the Skatchenash Valley Chamber of Commerce for the last 6 years. You're listening to Small Business, a podcast where we talk about all the ins and outs and ups and downs of being a small business owner. Please talk to me on social media. I'm lonely. It's at Why Not Landlot. I'd love to hear from you. Of course, we are talking about business here, but that's just a jumping off point, Hoping to talk about whatever here, because our main goal is having fun. Having a good time. Being good time guys and gals. That's the way my bread is buttered. How about yours? How do you butter bread? I'm feeling good. Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day! Oh, I love St. Patty's. Top of the morning to you, bottom of the evening to you. They never say that one. I wore green yesterday. Had a good time. I FaceTimed with my sister's kids. The young ones had made leprechaun traps. Didn't catch any. They never do. Because leprechauns aren't real. So, yeah. They've added that tradition to sort of developmentally for kids so that there's another thing to break their heart, Grown-ups are having a good time, though. St. Patty's Day, getting out there, going around, being Irish. Everyone just wants to go out and party, and have fun. Because it's a day where everyone gets to be Irish, which, it turns out it's primarily just about drinking. And that's it. I wanted to talk to you guys today about the potential perils of local politics, particularly for us small business owners. How do you get involved? How do you not? And thought I'd share with you my own cautionary tale. A bit of a saga it's been. A few weeks ago, I was down at Landlot Sporting Goods in Greenhook, helping the new management team there get acclimated. Just a regular day when around lunchtime, there's this loud ruckus outside. I look and there's this whole group of people marching by, just chanting, holding up signs, banging on drums, just real festive vibe. So I was curious. I come out and I asked what the deal was. They were more than happy to talk to me. They were protesting because this developer's trying to build an apartment complex right there on Highway J. Which the problem is it was going to strangle the town. It'll mess up all the traffic. There'd be no more sidewalks for pedestrians. It was going to force bicyclists off the road. One of the guys was holding a sign, I'm biking here. I like that. Yeah, but I didn't know any of this. I get to talking with this lady. She was playing a tambourine, Lorraine. She was asking if I wanted to help them out. So I agreed to put up a sign in solidarity right there in the store window. Don't build on Highway J. They all start cheering for me. It was great. It just felt like I was part of something, A little bit later, a guy comes in with his daughters. They were real cute. He was getting them a couple softball mitts and starts asking about the sign. Says, why don't you want them building the apartment complex over on Highway J? I tried to explain about the bicycles, But then he starts telling me the town desperately needs this kind of development. I come to find out there's no affordable housing in town for working people anymore. His wife has to drive 45 minutes into town to go to work, and that's their only car. To hear him tell it, the apartment complex would be a lifeline for families like his. And I didn't know any of that. It was a real eye-opening convo. Next thing I know, these other customers start chiming in saying, yeah, this guy's right. The town really needs it. Oh, then this lady with a service dog, she goes on to tell me how there's not even any fire hydrants on that end of town. And the only way they'll expand the water infrastructure is if they build the apartment complex. I couldn't believe it. The whole town could burn down. I'd heard enough. So yeah, I took the sign down, didn't think twice. I assumed that was the end of it, but later that day we're running through purchasing orders. These gals come in with clipboards saying clean water forever on them. They're telling me that the apartment complex, they're trying to build it on top of an old landfill. Yeah, nobody had mentioned that part. All these pollutants are going to contaminate the water and kill off all the frogs. I had no idea. I was just dumbfounded. I tried to explain about the fire hydrants, But they had a good point. You can't just build on a landfill and poison all the frogs. That could crash the whole ecosystem, which, can't have that. So they asked me if I'll put up their sign, and I was like, no way. I told them about the whole fiasco with the last one, and they were like, no, our sign isn't like that. It just says, keep Green Hook green. Which, so I put it up just as, generally protecting frogs in general kind of thing. If you're feeling like this story's getting long, trust me, it's longer if you live it. Next day, my manager there, Cammie, comes in the office saying we've been getting lots of complaints from customers about the sign. I was like, the Keep Green Hook green sign? She was like, yeah. I was like, but it's just about frogs. Did you tell them about the frogs? Yeah, but turns out people thought the sign was a dog whistle saying we were on the homeowners' side. I was like, what homeowners? Cammie's like, the protesters, Lorraine and them. They got this homeowners coalition. Now people think we're against the apartment complex. The softball mitts guy had even come back in and returned his softball mitts. People were upset. So then I tell Cammie to go ahead and take that sign down. Sheesh. Lorraine, the lady from the protest, comes back in. No tambourine this time. She's looking all tight-mouthed. Asks me why I took her sign down. And I just said, we're trying to stay out of the politics thing here. She storms out. I'm thinking, that's it. We're done here. We did it. So I'm thinking all this is behind us. A couple days later, talking to my neighbor. She's all upset because the pediatric cancer center where her grandson gets chemo treatments is closing down. She's been calling the city council about it, and it turns out the only way the cancer center can stay open is if the apartment complex goes through. But, this poor lady, she's in tears. And at night, I'm just laying awake, thinking about those kids with cancer, and my Jiminy Cricket starts chirping something awful. Next day, I had Cammie put up a sign saying, build on Highway J. Anyway, you can imagine how that goes. Lorraine absolutely goes on the warpath. Ahmed tells me to check out our Facebook. She's posting that everyone should boycott Landlord Sporting Goods. All these homeowner coalition people are piling on in the comments. Then there's all these other people dunking on them, saying how they're hurting working families. I'm getting random people Facebook messaging me, talking about they must have gotten to you, Mike, how much they paying you. And I was like, who, the cancer kids? And they're like, no, the billionaires from down south. I don't know what anybody's talking about. I get a phone call from Darla Dangle, whose parents live in one of those neighborhoods. She's all mad at me for putting up the sign because her mom's got lupus, and if they build on that landfill and poison the water, it could kill her. I don't want that. I've known the Dangles my whole life. I didn't know what to say to her, but Meanwhile, Cammie tells me she's getting all these threatening messages on Facebook now about the whole thing. She asked me if she can take down the sign, the build on Highway J one. And I say, you're the manager. It's your call ultimately. So she takes it down. I'm just trying to make it through the week here at this point. These people from Working Families Alliance start calling the store, going nuts on us. Both sides are now saying to boycott us on Facebook. I can't keep up. The bicycles and the fire hydrants, the frogs, and the kids with cancer, Mrs. Dangle. Fast forward to Monday morning, both groups have plastered our storefront with posters. Build on Highway J, don't build on Highway J, words added, words crossed out, half the posters torn down, just blowing around on our sidewalk, There's these flyers taped all over the windows. Stop capitalist greed, stop supporting billionaires. That's not what we do here. We're just trying to sell sports equipment and, not let anybody die. I don't know any billionaires. I tweet at them, but they don't respond. Meanwhile, the Facebook post goes viral. I'm standing there in the store, doom scrolling the comment section. Apparently, the whole protest thing was actually being spearheaded by these racist HOA people who just wanted to protect their fancy homes from minorities. But then the other people were saying it was the other way around. The ones trying to build the development were the racist ones because they don't hire contractors of color. I mean, we got stickers all over our door talking about get rid of the racists. I was like, which ones? But they're all over the door handle. Cammie's like, should I take them off? And I'm like, anti-racism stickers? No. I don't know if we can even touch those. Then it just starts getting weird. Lorraine barges in with her husband saying they know I'm in league with the corporate bigwigs down south. I'm on her list. Whatever that means, talking about they're keeping an eye on me, her homeowners coalition. Her husband's just videoing me the whole time. I'm like, hi, what, not 15 minutes after they leave, this guy comes in looking like Sergeant Slaughter in a polo shirt, got these other big guys with him. They're all flexing for some reason. He starts asking, what was that meeting with Lorraine all about just now? Are you working with her? I'm like, what? I'm not doing that. And he's kind of interrogating me. Well, then what are you doing, Mike? I say, not selling sports equipment, that's for sure. He starts telling me he's got some action committees, got eyes on the whole block. Meanwhile, Lorraine's out front with her minions, bunch of ladies wearing earmuffs just standing outside Panera, watching me. They got clipboards. Sergeant Slaughter's guys are out there too now, leaning against telephone poles, watching the earmuffs people. I find Cammie, poor Cammie, hiding behind a pallet in the stockroom. She's on the phone whispering to her girlfriend that she's scared. It feels like a Tom Clancy novel, including the fact that I have no idea what's going on. What would you do in that situation? I was like, enough's enough, so I go out into the street in the middle of the block and I kind of yell to all the Cold War spies that are gathered there, look, guys, why don't we have a community meeting about all this? So I put up a sign saying community meeting and had Ahmed posted on Facebook, and that's what we did. So that next week I hosted a community meeting at Landlaw Sporting Goods, and oh boy, it did not go well. I will tell you all about it after a quick commercial break. You're listening to Small Business. We'll be right back. Hey guys, Mike here. When I'm feeling thirsty, I'm looking for refreshment in the extreme, not some nap time apple juice. I'm a grown man. I'm out here working hard and playing kind of hard. I'm trying to get jacked up real good. Most sodas on the market, they just won't do. You offer me some weak sauce transparent fizzy drink, I don't think I want to watch sports at your house anymore. I certainly don't trust you to be on my paintball team. I'm sorry, that just doesn't cut it. I'm liable to never talk to you again. I like when my soda fights back a little bit. I need to get punched in the mouth with citrus. Otherwise, my mouth just feels stupid. My mouth is like, seriously? What are we even doing here? Why are we doing this? Why are you giving this to me? What am I supposed to do with it? I start swirling it around, trying to make it exciting. My mouth is like, give me a break. I'm not a toddler. I know it's just you swirling it. That's just condescending to my mouth. Most lemon lime sodas are stupid. That's why when unquenchedness starts calling me, I reach for an icy cold Diet Mountain Dew. It'll fire you up like blah. The crisp, clean punch of the bubbles. The citrusy tingle. I gotta get it down my gullet, like as fast as possible. I mean, if it were socially acceptable, I would shotgun Diet Mountain Dew. Get like a 2-story bong and just fill it up to the top. I'd pound that thing. I can't get enough Diet Mountain Dew in my body. And believe me, I've tried. And look, all those other lemon limey type sodas are clear. What are you even drinking? A bunch of nothing? I want to be able to to see my soda. It's got to be at least translucent. And Diet Mountain Dew is delightfully yellowy. Diet Mountain Dew is a call to adventure. You want to hit the slopes? Just ripping 6 snowboard tricks. I've never skied or snowboarded a day in my life, but you give me enough Diet Mountain Dew, I will conquer that mountain. I'll mess it up. I'll ruin it for everybody else. And I won't even feel bad about it as long as you give me Diet Mountain Dew. Just start an avalanche and chop down all the trees. Give me like these 20-foot chainsaws on either side of my body. I'll do a straight slalom down and just chop down a whole forest. Me and Diet Mountain Dew, clear cutting a mountain face. Bring it on. I am disgustingly thirsty. Extreme sports are just sick. They get me real fired up. Not to do them, but just to talk about them. People jumping off of cliffs and bridges. Scandinavian guy doing the cowabunga sign, then jumping out of an airplane in a wingsuit. That's what I'm talking about. Except diet. I can't really have that much sugar. Diet Mountain Dew's got my back. There's no sugar in it. They just put aspartame in, which is fine. It's this chemical that totally replicates the experience of having sugar in your body without any calories. So there's absolutely no cost. You could just eat pure aspartame and it just wouldn't be any problem. It's science magic. 0 consequences. I just don't even think about it. I don't sit around worrying about it. I'm not concerned in the least at all. I've never even wondered how that could possibly be not healthy. I mean, somebody would say something if there was a problem. Do you see a class action lawsuit going on here? Because I don't. It either comes out when you go to the bathroom or just it stays in your bones or something. Either way, I'm good. I just want to drink it. Okay? The sheer amount of caffeine is just staggering. Sometimes after I've had about 5, I just kind of want to roar. Just start looking around thinking I could run through that wall, but I'm not gonna. Because that's dangerous and destructive. Sometimes I'll stay up real late typing down all this stuff about opening up 40 new businesses. And then the next day I'll be like, what was I thinking? I'm not gonna do that. Open a store that only sells medieval swords. That's not gonna work. Look, I may have a problem. One time I went 4 weeks and the only liquids I consumed were Diet Mountain Dew and NyQuil. But by this point, my liver knows what's up. It's totally ready for whatever Diet Mountain Dew I put in there. You got that extreme lifestyle, water skiing, motorcycle, running around in the woods by yourself, making your own fort out of wooden pallets you found, sleeping in there, making weapons. But I gotta stay down to earth. That's the diet part. It helps you sort of be like, whoa, chill out a little bit. You're not actually a crazy guy. You just want to talk about it. I'm pretty sure I could fight a bear if I tried real Mountain Dew, but that's too risky. Better to stick with the diet. I mean, look, what other lemon lime soda's gonna get the job done? Sprite? You're joking, right? Sprite is like the laughing stock. Sprite is for people in cubicles. Meanwhile, us Diet Mountain Dew folks, we're also in cubicles, but we're talking about way cooler stuff. Sprite's definitely for the blue pill people. Morpheus knows what I'm talking about. Morpheus? It's from the Matrix. 7-Up was ahead of its time, in the 1930s. And Mellow Yellow, don't even get me started. Mellow Yellow's a freaking joke. Mellow Yellow's an absolute tool bag. Nobody likes Mellow Yellow. If I saw somebody drinking Mellow Yellow in public, I would smack it out of their hand. Now, I'll be honest, I cannot touch the Baja Blast stuff. Any food product with the word blast in it is just, look, I can't go that far with things. I'm a business owner. I'm a responsible member of society. If they had some product named, Serpent Exploder, I can't drink that. It would be going too far. Just scale it back. Diet Mountain Dew. Do you the way Diet Dew do. Welcome back to Small Business with Mike Landlot. Full disclosure, that was not a real ad. Just showing potential sponsors out there the kind of testimonial ads I can do for them. Where were we? Yes. Before the break, I told you all about the local politics fiasco at Landlot Sporting Goods a few weeks ago. I scheduled a community meeting and, just to kind of hash the whole thing out. So we closed early one night. I put out a bunch of chairs out in the showroom, some little Debbie snacks. There was quite a turnout. Everybody showed up. The clean water gals were there. Sergeant Slaughter showed up with his team of, spray tan guys. Lorraine was there. She showed up with all her homeowners coalition buddies. They're all kind of wearing the same, athleisure type outfit, just a gaggle of Lululemons. Bunch of my customers, the softball mitts guy, the lady with the service dog. Oh, I felt bad for her. This older lady with a cane, she just would not stop trying to pet her dog, which, there's a literal sign on the dog's back saying, do not touch. Let's see. There was a frog there. A guy wearing a frog costume. He was hanging out with the clean water gals, They're standing around chatting all casual. But he's a frog. A lot of folks came straight from work. It was a real eclectical mix. People are just kind of milling around, just waiting for it to start. Cammie comes up to me. She's kind of like, we should probably get going. I'm like, sure, sounds good to me. Then I realized, oh gosh, I guess people are expecting me to MC this thing. So I sort of make my way up to the front. It's standing room only. I take the mic and sort of say, welcome everybody. Please quiet down, take your seats. I sort of start explaining the deal. Not 20 seconds into me talking, there's suddenly all this hollering. It scared the heck out of me. It's this group of college kids near the back. They're standing up, taking their jackets off, kind of to reveal that they're wearing these matching T-shirts underneath saying F capitalism. They're unfurling this banner. And people start yelling, oh, come on, get out of here. This is a meeting, for crying out loud. I'm just standing there with my mouth hanging open, Sergeant Slaughter's guys, the spray tanners, they jump up like they're going to attack the college kids, like they've been waiting for this moment. I panic. Luckily, Martin, our security guy, gets there first and, starts escorting them out. The college kids are videoing themselves the whole time, saying, oh, you going to arrest us? Martin's like, no, I'm just going to put you outside. Martin is just hilarious. And that's what he did, and locked them out. Apparently they were trying to bang on the windows and stuff, but it's triple pane glass and the shades were down. So we just kind of moved on. Once we got that initial kerfluffing out of the way, things started going pretty smooth. One at a time, people got up there, sort of said their piece. This working student talking about how he needed the housing or he'd have to drop out of school next year. Mrs. Dangle, she got up and talked about her lupus and how the water pollution was bad for people like her. My neighbor's daughter did a real moving speech about her son, about how his life depended on the medical center staying open. A guy with nerve damage from a bicycle accident. The shift manager from Culver's, she was saying how she's a single mom, just wants to give her kids a safe place to live. Actually, one of the junior associates over at Landlot Law came out, I guess sort of a pro bono thing. And she gave a real good speech about the importance of having multifamily housing in any community. You had some parents saying they really needed the housing. Other ones were real worried about their high schoolers having a sidewalk to get to school. Just a lot of different perspectives. The fire chief, though, wow, he got up there, dropped some real truth bombs about the whole fire hydrant problem. He could have done a mic drop afterwards, kind of like Fire Marshal Bill. Let me show you something. Oh, but seriously, it was real intense stuff. Listening to everybody, I was really getting into it. Oh, but at one point, I could not stop laughing. I see one of the Lululemon ladies watching the clean water gal, how she's, using the clipboard in her speech. So she goes back to her chair and gets her clipboard. She gets up there and all she's talking about is, I like fall colors. And then she checks her clipboard. I like rain. I'm thinking, what's even written on her clipboard? Pickleball with Jeremy Thursday. Oh, gosh. I guess she's like a trendsetter with her friends, because then all the other Lululemons start bringing clipboards up with them. You know, uh-oh, they've gone full clipboard. I know I'm picking on them, but it was giving me a chuckle. But yeah, it started out real smooth. The only real interruption was the cane lady. I don't know if she was hard of hearing or what, but during one of the speeches, she starts bothering the service dog again. You know, she's talking to it, trying to get it to look at her shirt because it's got a painting of a wolf on it. She's like, oh, look, it's a doggo, just like you. See how it's howling at the moon? The owner keeps asking her to stop. You know, people are shushing her. What are you doing? It's a service dog. It doesn't know what you're talking about because it's a dog. It couldn't give two flying squirrels about the gas station art on your t-shirt. There's a whole meeting going on here. I had to go over there and give her a warning. Which, you know, crisis averted. But yeah, things were going okay. Start thinking, you know, this is all going way better than I thought it would. But then Lorraine gets up. She says, you know, I've been silent for too long. You know, I won't be silent anymore. And she starts talking about how the development's just this greedy land grab for like predatorial executives who are paying off all the politicians. And that the medical center itself is part of a conglomerate that has a long history of using sick kids as a PR campaign. People just started yelling and booing like crazy. My neighbor's daughter claps back, my child is not a PR campaign. I couldn't believe it. Cammie about jumped out of her chair at Lorraine. Her girlfriend had to hold her back. I was like, dang, Cammie, what are you, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson now? But it really took a turn from there. Next lady comes up wearing this gigantic SpongeBob shirt. She's saying the apartments would cut the local wildlife off from its habitat and then raccoons were going to be digging in her trash. Somebody interrupted her saying, you know, lady, you're more concerned about raccoons than the people who work in this town. You want us coming to your house and digging through the trash? It was getting ugly. But then the guy in the frog costume gets up. Oh boy, he did a whole speech. From the perspective of a frog, which was really not the right vibe for the room at that time. You know, people start rolling their eyes. The spray tanners start heckling him real bad, going like, you know, ribbit, you're an idiot. He finishes up, sits back down, but they keep taunting him, grabbing some of our little Nerf balls out of a bin there. They start throwing them at the back of his head. The frogs had enough. He starts talking smack right back at him. A fight almost breaks out. Thankfully, there's a guy in a VFW hat there, kind of steps in and helps Martin separate them. Cammie goes over. She's in the middle of scolding the spray tanners. The Nerf balls are off limits. You know, when somebody steps on the dog's tail somehow, it lets out this dog scream. Cane lady starts getting real excited. She thinks the dog's talking to her finally. She starts pointing at the wolf on her shirt like, oh, that's right, it's howling. The service dog lady finally loses it, tells cane lady to back the F-bomb up. I had to separate them at that point. Cane lady's all offended like, oh, but I'm good with dogs. Yeah, we get it. You're good with dogs. You just don't understand instructions. Oh, criminy crumbles. Yeah, it was getting unruly. So I had Cammie call over to Landlot Pizza and order like 25 pizzas. My hope was that it was just people getting hangry, but the pizza just seemed to make them angrier. You know, the speeches start getting real dark. You know, people talking about the death of small town America, the death of the middle class, the destruction of the planet. This guy wearing wraparound sunglasses and these puffy American flag pants is up there yelling about the wussification of America. I could not keep track of who was who and who was in favor of what. I mean, they weren't even talking about Green Hook anymore. The format started falling apart. Nobody took turns. They were just standing up, yelling, arguing with each other. I got real tired, you know, like this kind of haze went over me. It all just kind of blended together and things people were saying, you know, just billionaires were ruining everything, except for how that was just socialist propaganda, and the real problem was being caused by DEI, except for how that was just a smokescreen by the fascist puppets of Russian oligarchs, except for how that was just a false flag operation by the Chinese. It was all just floating past me in Technicolor, like cartoon cutouts on a Disney ride or something. People were interrupting each other and booing each other, and everybody was calling everybody else a Karen. People going back and forth, just owning each other, dropping booyahs on each other. Somebody was live streaming the whole thing, talking to their followers about, you guys won't believe the S that's going down here at Landlot Sporting Goods. Everybody had their phones out, taking videos of each other, freaking out, saying, oh, keep it up, I'm recording all this. I got you on video, Don't worry, honey, you're going on social media. But then the other person was taping them like, no, you don't worry, honey, because you're going on social media, taking videos of people taking videos. I kind of grabbed a mic at one point and just sort of said, it seems like people have a lot of different needs here. What if we built the apartment complex, but not on a landfill? I don't really remember what happened after that exactly. I kind of just remember everybody turning and started directing all their yelling at me. I was fully dissociated at that point. Someone saying I'm platforming Nazis, someone calling me a closet sympathizer, a capitalist predator, flaming communist. Somebody accused me of being from Illinois. What? There's a couple of guys wearing those wraparound sunglasses. They just kept dunking on me, saying I was a beta cuck, snowflake, limp noodle, puddle, poodle, doodle. It just sounded like a word bank for a meme generator. I kind of just zoned out at that point and focused in on this one lady. She was knitting a sweater, just not saying a word. She'd been like that the whole meeting, just sitting there knitting quietly, while everybody was yelling all around her. I started thinking, she's the only sane one here. I wish she'd speak up. And then right at that moment, like magic, she puts her stuff down, gets up, and starts walking up toward the front. I get all excited, thinking finally, someone's going to talk some sense into everybody. She just walks right up to the front row, turns, and spits in some guy's face. Well, all heck breaks loose. The guy's wife lunges at her. People start trying to separate the old ladies. Everyone's up, getting in each other's faces, chairs sliding around, people screaming. There's some guy's oxygen tank rolling by. Nerf balls are now flying everywhere. Someone's throwing them at me for some reason, just beaning me in the back of the head. Lululemons are in a screaming match with the Working Families Alliance. They start swiping at each other's clipboards. They're basically fencing with clipboards at that point, knocking over displays. Martin's running around everywhere trying to stop the ruckus. Cammy's trying to reconnect this guy's oxygen tank before he suffocates. The spray tanners decide this is their big chance. They go full tilt after the frog, saying they're going to beat his frog ASS. The environmentalists are trying to protect the frog, fending off the spray tanners with field hockey sticks. Meanwhile, the dog is just standing there shell-shocked. Clearly, the meeting was over. Everyone kind of, broke it up and started heading out. I felt awful. This has just made everything worse. I certainly didn't know how to fix the whole apartment complex problem. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to help anybody. So, as people were leaving, I just passed out 10% off coupons for spring sports items. Which, then some guy in a fedora told me I was a war profiteer. I don't know, guys. I am open to suggestions about how to handle this kind of thing. I know it's a lot to take in, but I could really use the help. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave me a comment on YouTube at Why Not Landlot. Hit me up on Twitter at Why Not Landlot. If Facebook is your jam and you haven't already boycotted me there, it's at Why Not Landlot. And you can always swing by my Instagram, where I haven't really put up anything meaningful, They're all the same at Why Not Landlot. Please leave me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I clearly did all this wrong, and I'd love to do it better next time. It's all about community, so join the conversation, and together we can make small business a little bit smaller. I want to give a quick shout out to Newt over at Busness Bird Studios. They did the art for the podcast. Pam found them. That about does it for me. This has been Small Business with Mike Landlot. If you're enjoying the podcast, please leave a review. If you're not, please don't. Be safe out there, everyone. And remember, think global, dream local, and watch out for deer.